here. It's kind of scary doing it like this because you hear these crack noises and you think, oh god, I've broken it. But you haven't, in most cases. I hope you don't break yours. Now we've got it removed, we need to disconnect the cable that connects the LCD display to the PCB assembly inside. Leaving the LCD kind of folded out, all we do is just lift that up. And voila, and here you can see the cable that connects everything together. It's connected by one of these down the bottom, so all you need to do is just basically stick your fingers in and lift it up. So the black piece just gets lifted straight up and released. So what you need to do now is close the LCD display and set the whole top piece to one side. Now we get into the fun part. Taking a sheet of carbon fibre film, just line it up roughly to about where you want it to go. Just make sure all the edges are covered, so you should be fine. Right, now we'll go about applying it. To apply the film, use an X-Acto knife, or in my case just a box cutter, to pry the edges of the film apart. Once you've got that apart, peel off a little piece, the entire width of the sheet. Line it up again as to exactly how you want it. Just make sure that you do have everything covered, or else you will be sorry later on. Let me tell you that. Just make sure you've got it all lined up. And then slowly just press it down on one side. Make sure you get a nice good seal just on the flat stuff. Nice and smooth so you have no wrinkles or air bubbles trapped underneath the film. Now, one thing I didn't point out to you is that we have these buttons over here. What we do when we apply the film to this, all we're going to do is make sure that we press the buttons right down as deep as they can go. By doing that, we're going to get rid of a lot of the air bubbles, and the film should actually help keep these buttons pressed in, which is what we need when it comes time to cut them out later on. So, press hard down on the button. Press the film down around it. It's kind of hard to do it and not get wrinkles around the buttons, but do your best. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect at this stage anyway, but you do need to make sure that you don't get wrinkles in the film anywhere else. One thing that I like to do is actually tear a piece of that backing film off once you've unrolled a little bit of it, and I actually use that to squeegee everything down. It also helps prevent your fingers from sticking to the top of the film. And just take your time with applying the film. If you want to do a good job with it and you rush it, you probably will end up with an unsatisfactory result. Just work from one end of the keyboard to the other. Now that we've got the carbon fibre sheet on, just give it a bit of a tilt to make sure there aren't any air bubbles in there, because it's quite possible that you may have got one or two if you are an amateur like me. that looks fine. Next thing we're going to do is around any parts that aren't where the keys live. I'm just going to run my thumbnail, or fingernail for that matter, just in around the edges, just to sort of press them in nice and tight. It'll actually stretch the film a little bit as well, which is totally cool. The main reason I'm doing this is just so I know, I can give myself a rough guide of what I'm going to be cutting out and where. So just go around through there, and also repress down on the buttons again as well, just to make sure they're all nice and down. And then we get our knife. Now the idea with the cutting around of the key trays and stuff is to not cut too close to the edge. So if you can press the film down, like you can probably see how the film is actually pressed in a little bit. You can just accentuate that a bit around the edges and just run your knife just down in there. And you can run it, basically press the blade flat up against the edge of the key tray, and the tray has actually got a curved edge. So if you're pressing the knife flat down against it, it'll actually leave you a little bit of extra room to fold the film down over, just to make it nice and tidy. But again, it's a good idea to run your finger around the edge, just to give you a rough idea of where you're going to be cutting. Corners can be a little bit tricky. Don't be afraid to leave too much film on the corners. You can deal with it afterwards. You don't have to cut the corners right up to the edge. So I'm going to do the same with that one too. Right, now that we've got that piece cut, we can carefully remove it, just in case it's attached to anything. Now this piece here, from your main set of keys, is actually quite large. You could probably use that for doing a mouse or something like that, so it's a good idea to save it. Keep the backing paper. With that piece cut out, we can now go around the edges just with your thumb or your finger, and just press that film in against the edges. We'll just give it a nice finish. In doing this, sometimes you can end up with little air bubbles. If you do get one, just try to get a sharp knife and just cut it on one of the edges of the squares and pattern of the film. That way it won't be particularly noticeable. Okay, now we've got the key trays cut out. What I'm going to do is I am going to cut around the edges, just to make sure that there's not too much of this vinyl film around the edges. Now you don't have to be particularly neat with this, at least on the first pass. Just try to ensure that you've got very little surplus hanging around. Because surplus means that when you go to reattach the black cover piece, it probably won't fit particularly well. And make sure it's pressed down again. For the corners, it's a good idea to maybe just trim them a tiny bit higher, because the film's going to bunch right there. But it's fine to have a little bit of overlap. It's not too precise. But whatever you do, just make sure that you do not have any of the film sticking up. Oh, sorry, cut away from the very, very top of it, because that's going to definitely affect how things look.